Hi there, in today's video we're going to be going over the solutions for the checkup where you were practicing when there is a number in front of the sign or cos and also when there is a number attached to the x. So a quick recap, the number in front of the sign or cos tells us the heights that both functions will be. So for example in the first one we've got 3 before the sine 2x, therefore our heights are going to be 3 and negative 3. We've also got a number next to the x, so we've got sine 2x for example, and the number in front of the x means how many graphs we expect to see in a period of 360 degrees, okay, so during 360 degrees. That's what our 4 questions are going to be on today. We're going to practice them just now. So our first graph we have to draw is y equals 3 sine 2x. So the first thing I know is that I know my height is going to be 3 and negative 3 from the 3 in the front, okay? I then need to draw sine graph, but I also then have to include another one because there's lots of them in there, okay? So I need to draw 2 sine graphs back to back, okay? So if I start drawing this, there's 1, and there's 2, okay? So 360 degrees, so in there. Now what's good to also know is to annotate your graph. So what we're always asked is when is the period of this function here, okay? So the period is when one graph actually finishes, okay? And you can see the cutoff point for the first graph is that dashed line there, which would be at 180 degrees. So the period for this question would be 360 divided by 2 because it was 2 graphs in 360, which shows us that the period for this function was 180. It took 180 degrees for the first graph to complete its cycle. Okay, so that's the answer for question 1, part A, where we had to draw y equals 3 sine 2x. Okay, now we're going into y equals sine 3x. So first of all, again, we can include our values here. So we're going to get 6 and negative 6. Got the origin there as well. And my job now is to draw 3 graphs. So remember, my curve needs to go up to 6 and down to negative 6. Okay, so that's the first one. That's the second one. And that's the third one. Okay, now it is very hard for me to do properly on this board, I'm not going to lie. Okay, but as long as I see a good attempt at you creating 3 curves, okay, and they're all relatively evenly spaced out, and they all have that nice curve feature. Okay, so again, we like to know when the first one ends. So the period for this graph would be 360, and we're going to divide it by how many graphs we have. So we've got 3 graphs. 360 divided by 3 is 120 degrees. So I know that the first graph would finish at 120 degrees. Therefore, I know the second graph would finish at 240 degrees. Okay, so there's some annotation for our graphs there. Okay, next question, we're going to do y equals 2 cos 4x. So I know my height this time will be 2 and negative 2, but I now need to draw 4 cos graphs. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and there's 4. Okay, I'll maybe just shorten this line just to make it complete there. Okay, so I managed to get all my 4 graphs in the space there. So again, 360 degrees go there. Let's work out the period. So the period would be 360. We've got to divide it by 4 because we had 4 graphs. 360 divided by 4 is 90. So I know that after each graph completes itself, it'd be 90 degrees. So 90 degrees would be there. The next graph would be 180 degrees. And the next graph would be 270 degrees, so like that there. Okay, so that's the solution for the third graph. And finally, the last graph, we have got to do 5 graphs. Okay, we've got cos 5 of x, which means we've got to do 5 graphs. Also know that my height was 0.7 and negative 0.7. So, in fact, let me just bring that up a bit there, negative 0.7 there. So, we are going to try and draw 5 graphs. Now this is going to look even probably worse than the last one. Let's see how I get on though. So there's 1, there's 2, 3, and 5. Okay, there's 5 graphs which are cost graphs because they start at the top, and we again know the end point would be 360 degrees, but let's work out the period. So the period here would be 360 degrees divided by 5 this time, which would give me the answer of 72 degrees. So I know that at the end of each graph, 72 degrees would be there. We had another 72 degrees, that would be 144 degrees would be there. Okay, 72 plus another, so 144 plus another 72, that would give me 216 degrees, I believe. Add another 72, that would be 288. And the last graph would be completed at 360 degrees there. So those are solutions for the 4 questions you were asked to sketch from last lesson. I'd like you to please watch this video, make sure you've paused and you've correctly drawn in the diagrams if you didn't quite manage them, and also it's a good idea to state the period of these graphs because this is the type of graph where the period changes. Okay, thank you.